Okay, I think we're going live, everybody. Here we go. This is a first and exciting, and I'm just gonna wait, 3 or 4 seconds before I go fully into it. And now, so I believe we are. Have we engaged live? Let's say we have. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Star Trek Radio Theater. I'm Dave Mater, your host for this evening, and we have a great performance. This is great here on Live Long and Podcast. I'm going to break character a little bit. We're really excited to bring this to you tonight. We have a production here of Star Trek: The Next Generation Yesterday Enterprise. It's a little new project we're doing here on Live Long and Podcast, where we're doing Star Trek Radio Theater. And we got some great performers here. We're just looking to have some fun and pay homage to one of our greatest, our favorite shows and programs. And some, just so we're all warned, some performances will be artistic reinterpretations of the original performance. So some may not sound exactly as you remember. They may be similar to other people you may have heard on television or just in your daily lives. I know who that is when I hear that, or just in such ways. Everybody has a little bit of an interpretation with how they read. I will be also playing the part of the narrator tonight, so I'll be reading all of the descriptions, and there'll be some background characters. Just to take you through all the parts, we have myself as Captain Jean-Luc Picard, and Ensign Wesley Crusher. I'll also be doing a Klingon commander. So we said we'd do this at the end, didn't I? I said I'd do all the. Okay, I'm not going to get into complete. You're going to be able to see it on the screen, and we're going to get started here. And just so you know, Jeff, did you want to say anything about your characters, or did you want to let people know?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Will, Riker, and Geordi the Forge, I'm doing kind of like a cartoon version of themselves. But for Richard Castillo, who's played by the guy who played Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore, I believe is something McDonald. Since his last name's Castillo, I'm going to do it as in the voice of Castiel from TV Supernatural on the WB, CW. So it'll be a fun way to kind of I have 3 different voices that you'll be able to tell the difference, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, here we go. And I may be paying homage to Jean-Luc Picard's more French roots.
And I'm just trying to read the lines.
And from here, let's get started. All right. Let's hide myself, and we will go on here. All right, that will be the graphic you'll be seeing as you follow along as we start here. And Jody Simpson, this will be very good. I know you paid a lot to watch this. So Star Trek: The Next Generation's Yesterday Enterprise, Season 3, Episode 20, first aired in February of 1990. So we begin on our teaser. Fade into the Enterprise D, 10 forward, interior. Worf is seated at a table near one of the windows. The ship is traveling at warp speed and the stars streak by. Guinan comes over to Worf's table, delivers a drink, and takes a seat across from him.
All right, try this.
What is it?
Just try it.
Worf takes a cautious sip, then reacts with pleasure. He looks at her with surprise.
You see, it's an Earth drink. Prune juice.
Worf takes another belt of this marvelous concoction and nods with pleasure.
A warrior's drink.
Guinan sits down at the table.
You're always drinking alone. It wouldn't hurt you to look for a little companionship.
Worf looks at her with vague irritation. This conversation is venturing into areas he'd rather avoid.
I would require a Klingon woman for companionship. Human females are too fragile.
Not all of them. There are a few on the ship you would find tame.
Impossible.
You never know until you try.
Then I will never know.
Coward.
I am merely concerned for the safety of my crewmates.
Guinan nods with an "oh right" expression.
Drink your prune juice.
The view out of the window abruptly changes as the ship drops out of warp. The stars cease to streak by, and far out in front of the ship, a rift can be seen in space. The rift resembles a large, jagged tear in space, within which can be seen a maelstrom of changing colors and patterns. We focus on Guinan and Worf, who both react to the view of the rift. Worf is already starting to rise when he hears,
"Lieutenant Worf, report to the bridge."
On my way, sir.
Guinan steps towards the window with a look of concern. She can sense something, confusion, dread, possibly a trace of fear across her face. We linger on her expression, then she whispers,
No.
Cut to exterior space, Enterprise and the Rift. The ship hangs before the gaping rift in space. Cut to Enterprise D Mage Bridge interior. Picard, Riker, Troy in command. Wesley at con, Data at ops. Worf enters and goes to tactical. Analysis, Mr. Data.
Sensors are reading gravimetric fluctuations, most unusual ones.
Unusual in what way? Specify.
Nothing I have seen before.
Is it a wormhole?
Yes and no. Like a time displacement, but it does not have a discernible event horizon.
Sir, navigational subsystems are unable to give coordinates on the object.
Confirmed. The phenomenon does not have a definable center or outer edge.
Are you saying it is and yet isn't there?
I do not have sufficient information to make an analysis as yet, Commander. The dynamics of the radiation patterns.
We focus on Worf. He sees something on his tactical display and he interrupts Data.
Captain, something's happening. A new change in sensor readings.
Cut to exterior space in the Rift. The colors within the Rift change, swirl, shift. A ship suddenly appears. It is barely visible, and no identification of design or type is possible yet. Cut to Enterprise D main bridge interior. We focus on Picard, his eyes fixed on the view screen, his voice strangely deeper. Mr. Data? We pull back to reveal the bridge, except for the tactical station. History has been changed, although none of our characters realize it. The bridge has now been altered to suggest a more militaristic appearance. The mood is darker, more somber. Our comfortable bridge is more like the nerve center of a battleship than an explorer. Even our uniforms have slightly altered to emphasize weapon rank and status. Troy is gone. Wesley now wears a regular ensign's uniform. Where there once science stations are now damage control centers. Security officers with sidearms are posted near all turbolifts. Picard's chair is larger and more impressive. Patches and scars in the bulkheads attest to the action the ship has seen recently. The attitudes of our characters are more military and formal. These people have been hardened slightly and are not the relaxed, at ease people we've come to know. Can you identify the ship, Lieutenant? Is it an enemy vessel? We move to tactical and reveal Tasha Yar at the station. The tactical station itself has been expanded and enhanced with more panels and displays. Tasha replies crisply and efficiently, as if she had never been anywhere else. Tasha shakes her head as she responds.
I'm getting too much interference, Captain.
Cut to exterior space, the Rift. The ship within the Rift is more clearly visible. It is unmistakably a starship of an earlier design than our own. It is very battered and beaten. It looks as though it's been through hell and back. Cut to 10-4, and Guinan's clothes are different. The place is bright, noisy, and very busy. A voice speaks off of the ship's intercom.
I hear this. Fleet formation briefing in main war room at 1500 hours. Dr. Joshua Campbell, report to station ops. Anson Thomas, please forward combat information. Anson Thomas to CIC.
This isn't right. It's changed.
Cut to main bridge.
It's clearing, Captain. Definitely a Federation starship. Accessing registry.
We focus on the main viewer. The other ship can be seen and the heavy damage is apparent.
Looks like they had a rough ride.
Tasha begins to read her display with surprise.
NCC 1701C. USS Enterprise.
Fade out. End of teaser. Begin Act 1. Fade into exterior space. The two Enterprises. Enterprise C in foreground with the name and designation number clearly visible. Enterprise D in background. Picard gives his login voiceover. Military log, combat date 43625.2. While investigating a radiation anomaly reported by Starbase 105, the Enterprise has encountered what could always be called a ghost from its own past. The Enterprise C, the immediate predecessor to this battleship. Cut to the Enterprise main bridge.
Sensors confirmed design and specifications, Captain. Analysis of hull and engine materials conform to engineering patterns and methods of that time period.
But that cruiser was destroyed with all hands about 20 years ago.
Presumed destroyed. The Enterprise C was last seen near the Klingon outpost of Naranda 3 exactly 22 years, 3 months, and 4 days ago.
And now they're here?
Has it been adrift for all those years? Or has it traveled through time? Everyone's been thinking the same thing, but hearing it actually said out loud makes them all take another look at the ship sitting in front of them.
It is a possibility, Captain. If that hypothesis is correct, the phenomenon we just encountered would be a temporal rift in space.
A rift?
Possibly the formation of a Kerr loop from superstring material. It would require high-energy interactions occurring in the vicinity for such a structure to form. The rift is certainly not stable, Captain. It could collapse at any time.
Captain, I'm able to scan the interior of the ship now, sir. Heavy damage to the warp field nacelles and hull bearing and struts. Internal space frame is life signs, Captain. Readings are sporadic. It looks like they have massive casualties, but some are still alive.
Riker addresses the comm.
Bridge to sickbay. Emergency team, stand by. Transporter rooms.
Understood.
Picard gives Riker a look.
Belay that auto, Doctor.
Respectfully, if I may suggest, regardless of where they came from, they are here now, and they need our help.
Commander, if that ship has traveled into the future, we could be dealing with variables that would alter the flow of our history.
Enterprise C is sending out a distress call, sir. Audio only.
Picard nods. Garrett's voice starts to play over the comm.
This is Captain Garrett, one of the Starship Enterprise to any Federation ship. We have been attacked by Romulan warp ships and require immediate assistance. We have lost warp drive. Light support is failing.
There's no record of the Romulans ever assaulting the Enterprise C.
Voice message has ended, Captain. All I'm receiving now is their automated distress signal.
All eyes turn to Picard. He looks at the main viewer as he makes his decision. There is a long, tense moment. Alien frequencies, Lieutenant. This is Captain Picard of a Federation starship. Stand by to receive emergency teams. The only response is static. Picard turns to Riker. We'll handle this one step at a time. Stabilize power systems and attend to their casualties. Avoid discussions of where and when they are.
Aye, sir.
Riker heads to the turbolift and addresses an officer.
Lieutenant?
Tasha and Riker exit. Wesley reads his console. Message coming in from Starfleet monitor stations, Captain. Klingon battlecruisers headed towards this sector. This is not welcome news. Battle alert, Mr. Crusher. Condition yellow. Bridge alert status goes to yellow. We hear a new alert sound. Aye, sir. All decks report condition yellow. Cut to 10 forward, which is somewhat different than we last saw. There are no civilians. There are about 20 uniformed crewmen and waiters, all carrying sidearms. Not as casual, more of a military canteen mess hall than a lounge. Guinan's expression is puzzled. She's walking around. She frowns and shakes her head.
It's changed. It's all changed.
Cut to exterior space, Enterprise C. The battered starship hereinafter called the Enterprise C drifts in space. Cut to the Enterprise C bridge. The bridge has been heavily damaged. Red alert is in effect. Oh. Sorry. Officers are lying dead on the deck plates and their consoles. Smoke lingers in the air and burning panels over their... sorry. Slumped in the captain's chair is Rachel Garrett, a tall, handsome woman that commands respect instantly. She is injured and barely holding on to consciousness. Riker, Geordi, and Beverly and Tasha beam over to the bridge. Beverly moves to a crewman lying on the deck. Geordi goes to what's left of the engineering console, and Riker and Tasha go to Garrett.
Captain Garrett?
Yes.
I'm Commander Riker. We have emergency teams boarding your ship. Doctor?
Beverly goes to Garrett and runs a tricorder over her. Beverly whispers quietly to Riker.
The rest of the bridge crew is dead. She has a bad fracture and has serious internal injuries. I'm going to have to get her back to the Enterprise.
To where?
We'll explain later.
You'll explain now, Commander.
We're from a Federation starship. We've answered your distress call. Your ship is in good hands, but we need to get you to our sickbay.
Very well.
Crusher to transporter room, 2 to beam directly to sickbay.
Stand by for transport.
Riker stands back as Beverly and Garrett beam out. He goes over to Geordi.
It's pretty bad, Commander. Looks like they were in a hell of a fight. If you can't stabilize life support, we'll have to evacuate the ship. I think we can do it. I'll have to get to engineering.
Riker gives him a curt nod, and Geordi moves towards his emergency exit. Geordi activates his comm badge.
LaForge to damage control team. Alpha, meet me on engineering level 3.
Geordi exits. A rasping of metal is heard coming from one of the bulkheads. Tasha moves quickly to the wall and manages to move some of the material with Riker's help.
Commander,
Cut to Tasha and Richard Castillo, who is lying under the rubble. Castillo is a ruggedly handsome with jet black hair and fiery eyes. He's apparently just regaining consciousness, but otherwise does not look injured.
Thanks.
Castillo gets up. He's still a bit wobbly on his feet. He looks at Tasha and Riker and tries to put his memories in order. Riker wants to head off this discussion for now.
Commander William Riker. Lieutenant Castillo, helmsman.
Cut to Enterprise D main bridge interior.
Away team reporting in, sir.
On screen, Monsieur Data. We focus on Enterprise D view screen. Riker appears on the view screen. He is standing on the bridge of the Enterprise C. Go ahead, Commander.
We stabilized life support, Captain. Mr. LaForge is working on restoring the main power couplings, but it'll take time. It's a real mess down here, sir.
Survivors?
125.
Recommendation?
I'd hate to scrap her. Starfleet could certainly use another ship, even if she is old.
Agreed, but we can't stay in this area too long. You have 9 hours. You will get underway in that time. Let's go back to Starbase 105. If not, we'll evacuate the survivors and destroy the ship.
Understood, sir.
Keep me posted. Picard out. We focus on the turbolift. Guinan enters. She looks around the bridge. It looks familiar, yet somehow wrong to her, just like everything else aboard. Picard turns away from the view screen and sees Guinan for the first time. Her appearance on the bridge is somewhat unprecedented, and Picard is very surprised. Guinan?
We need to talk. Somehow this is all wrong. This is not the way it's supposed to be.
We push on Picard's reaction. Fade out. Active Act 1. Beginning Act 2. Fade in. Exterior space. The two Enterprises as before. Cut to Enterprise D ready room. Guinan and Picard are talking. You must have some idea how things have changed.
I look at things. I look at people. And they just don't feel right.
What things? What people? Guinan looks around helplessly for an example and settles on Picard himself.
Your uniform, the bridge.
What's the matter with the bridge?
It's not right.
It's the same bridge. Nothing has changed. Worried and confused, she sits, knowing but being unable to explain. Her placid nature cannot mask her frustration. It's more frightening than anything she's ever known.
I know that. I also know it's wrong.
Her eyes look to Picard, almost apologizing, needing to be believed. Picard takes a deep breath. What else? Feelings, reaching inside of her feelings, almost to herself.
Families. There should be family. There should be children on this ship.
What? Children on the Enterprise? Guinan nods. Guinan, we are at war!
No, we're not, monsieur. At least we're not supposed to be. This is not a ship of war. This is a ship of peace.
Picard is not sure what to think. What you are suggesting?
I'm not suggesting.
We focus on Picard's stunned reaction. Cut to Enterprise D sick bay. Garrett is lying on a table while Beverly and medical crew work on her. In background, 2 more officers tend to 4 injured Enterprise C crew members. Garrett is awakening and looks around the sick bay. She's beginning to realize that this isn't just another starship. She looks at the instruments that Beverly is using with curiosity. They don't seem quite familiar to her. She looks over to Picard as Picard enters.
Run a full electrolyte report. Boost the level of tricordrazine. Try to relax. Dr. Solar, report to Null G Ward Stat. Dr. Solar, report to Null G Ward Stat.
I am Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Rachel Garrett, how's my ship?
The support systems are being restored. We are continuing repairs. Garrett leans back.
Where did you come from? We weren't picking up any other Federation ships in the sector.
Picard and Beverly exchange a glance. What is the last thing you remember?
We were answering the distress signal.
Distress signal?
You must have heard it from the Klingon outpost, Renaranda 3.
Picard and Beverly exchange yet another glance.
But you didn't, did you?
Garrett looks around the sickbay again.
I've never seen a sickbay like this, not even on a starbase. And your uniforms. What ship is this, Captain?
Picard struggles with the decision for a moment.
Please, try to keep still.
I insist on an answer.
Picard takes a deep breath. You are aboard the Enterprise, Captain. 1701. Duh. He lets that sink in for a second. Garrett grasps the implication. After a moment of her expression is shocked. Picard nods. You have come 22 years into the future.
22 years.
It's a difficult realization for even a starship captain.
Does my crew know yet?
No.
I must tell them. I owe them that, Picard.
If you wish, I will see to it that they are informed. Garrett is puzzled by Picard's reservation.
Is there a reason they should not be told?
I am concerned that you have to return to your own time with knowledge of the future.
Return to the battle? We barely escaped with our lives. If we return, we'll be destroyed.
A moment passes. Picard nods. This is not the time to discuss Guinan's feelings. Have you any idea how this happened? Garrett shakes her head.
There was a fierce volley of photon torpedoes. We were hit. There was a bright light, and then here.
Is it possible your exchange of fire was the catalyst for the formation of a temporal rift? History has no record of your battle with the Romulans.
We were responding to a distress call from the Klingon outpost on Narenda 3. The Romulans were attacking it. We engaged them, but there were 4 warbirds.
The Narendra 3 outpost was destroyed. Remembering what Guinan said. It is regrettable that you did not succeed. A Federation starship rescue in the Klingon outpost might have averted 20 years of war. We focus on Garrett's expression. Cut to Enterprise C bridge. Cut to Riker working at the forward ops console. Other officers and crewmen are repairing damage. Moving to find Tasha and Castillo are next to each other at aft stations, testing panels.
I just can't quite make myself believe it. 22 years.
Tasha's all business.
I'm reading 40% on forward shields.
40%.
What do you have on aft?
40%.
That won't cut it. Commander, advise Lieutenant LaForge that shields are below minimum.
Acknowledged. We'll never see our homes again. Our families.
How do you know your family's not still alive?
You're right. I don't. But imagine coming home after 22 years. Would I even recognize them?
Tasha's more tuned to her panels and monitors, not into the real personal things here.
What are the status readouts on main phaser banks?
Emitters available. 60% forward, 52% aft.
Let's take a look at the torpedo launchers.
I guess I'm lucky to be alive at all.
You may not like the future. It's been a long war. The Federation's lost more than half of Starfleet to the Klingons.
We were negotiating a peace treaty with the Klingons when I left.
A lot of changes, Lieutenant. A lot of changes.
Castillo nods. A moment passes.
When we get a break, maybe you could fill me in on some of them.
They exchange a look. She acknowledges, maybe.
Photon banks are depleted. Auxiliary fusion generators are down.
Cut to the Enterprise D main bridge. At aft science station, Picard looks over Data's shoulder as he studies a computer graphic on the monitor.
The probability is high that the temporal rift is symmetrical, Captain.
If that is the case, what would happen if the Enterprise C were to fly back through it?
Back, sir? The Enterprise C would emerge in her own time period at almost the same instant she left.
Right in the middle of the battle with the Romulans.
Yes, sir.
Based on the logs of the Enterprise C, is there any possibility that she could survive the battle?
None, sir.
Picard sighs. A moment passes. Then sending them back would be condemning them to death. Fade out. End of Act 2. Begin Act 3. Fade into exterior space. The 2 Enterprises as before. Cut to transporter room interior. A transporter room crewman is present as Tasha and Castillo materialize. Castillo takes his first look at the Enterprise D.
Unbelievable.
Lieutenant?
Castillo realizes Tasha is waiting for him. They exit. Cut to the corridors interior continuous. As Tasha leads Castillo's fascinated by everything around him. They pass several people in the corridors. Some acknowledge Tasha.
She was the first Galaxy-class warship built by the Federation. 42 decks, capable of transporting over 6,000 troops.
How long have you been on board?
4 years, straight out of the academy. I was lucky to get the Enterprise.
Yeah, me too. I mean, my Enterprise.
Cut to sickbay. Captain Garrett convalesces on a biobed. She is awake but remains weak. Beverly checks her patient's vital signs. Beverly moves off as Castillo and Tasha enter. Castillo nods to Garrett. It's their first meeting since Garrett left the Enterprise C.
Lieutenant, how's the ship?
We've restored minimal shields and the forward phaser banks. Still no photon launchers or warp drive.
Concentrate on the weapon systems. From what Captain Picard has told me, the Federation can use all the help it can get.
And soon. Our sensors have picked up Klingon warships in this sector, Captain.
Garrett reacts.
Why wasn't I informed, Mr. Castillo?
She begins to rise.
Captain, you shouldn't.
As senior officer, I want you to be my liaison with the Enterprise D. Coordinate with tactical.
That's me, Captain.
Beverly rushes up, forces the captain back to the bed.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm ready to resume my duties.
Captain, you need at least another 24 hours.
Nonsense. Doctors always overprotect their patients.
And captains always push themselves too hard.
Garrett stubbornly gets back on her feet.
Doctor, my ship and crew need me now. 24 hours might as well be 24 years.
And she exits, much to Crusher's chagrin. Cut to Observation Lounge, which has been converted into a war room atmosphere. The door slides open and Guinan enters, pauses at the door, looking alone at the far end of the table, filled with wartime displays and charts. They look at each other. A moment passes. Picard is quite tense, a man who needs answers to make a difficult judgment. I need more. Guinan looks at him. She can't help him.
There is no more. I wish there were. I wish I could prove it, but I can't.
Then I can't send them back.
You've got to.
Picard slams his hand on the table. Guinan, they will die moments after they return. How can I ask them to sacrifice themselves based solely on your intuition?
I don't know, but I do know that this is a mistake. Every fiber in my being says this is a mistake. I can't explain it to myself, so I can't explain it to you. I only know that I'm right.
Who is to say that this history is any less proper than the other?
I suppose I am.
Not good enough! Not good enough, damn it! I will not ask them to die!
40 billion people have already died. This war is not supposed to be happening. You've got to send those people back to correct this.
And what is to guarantee that they go back, that they will succeed? Every instinct tells me this is wrong. It is dangerous. It is futile.
We've known each other a long time. You may never know me to impose myself on anyone or take a stance based on trivial or whimsical perceptions. This timeline must not be allowed to continue. Now, I've told you what you must do. You only have your trust in me to help you decide to do with it.
We focus on his reaction. Cut to the Enterprise D-10 forward with Tasha and Castillo.
Deflector shield technology has advanced considerably during the war. Our heat dissipation rates are probably double those of the Enterprise C, so we can hang in a firefight longer.
Move to find Guinan returning, moving behind the bar. She glances over and reacts as she sees Tasha talking away to Castillo. She hasn't seen Guinan yet. As she feels there's something really wrong with Tasha. We can see it in Guinan's eyes. And then, as Tasha turns and makes eye contact with Guinan, she begins to smile, then reacts as Guinan's eyes avoid hers. And it's only for a moment, but she still wonders, what's wrong?
Guinan?
Have you ordered yet, Tasha?
No, not yet. Is anything wrong?
Not a thing. What can I get for you?
The slightest beat passes. Tasha knows something's wrong.
Just a couple of TKLs. We're in a hurry. Oh, this is Lieutenant Castillo.
Guinan nods and moves away quickly.
First time for everything.
First time.
It's just that I've never seen anything bother her before.
What's a TKL?
Standard rations. Food replicators are on minimum power. Everything else is diverted to defensive systems. So where was I?
You've told me more about tactical in an hour than I learned my last year in the academy.
You're going to need it, Lieutenant.
Hey, I've known you a whole day now, Lieutenant. I won't salute you if you won't. What did she call you? Tasha?
Yeah.
Most everybody just calls me Castillo. Or Castiel. My mother calls me but Richard.
Okay, Castillo. Or Castiel.
Nah, I think maybe I'd like it better if you called me Richard.
And there's a charming boyish look in his eyes that makes her feel warm. It's a feeling Tasha Yar has never had an easy time with, and it's not easy for her to acknowledge here, but it's kind of nice nevertheless. There may be something between them, and they both know it. She nods and tries it on.
Richard.
This is the Captain. Senior officers will report to the ready room immediately.
So much for lunch.
Guinan cleans behind the bar, going out of her way not to look at Tasha until she passes. Cut to the ready room. Picard, Riker, Geordi, Data, Beverly, and Tasha. Picard has been briefing the others for the first time on Guinan's feelings and measured words.
Captain, are you suggesting they should return and attempt to complete their mission?
I am, Doctor.
Based on Guinan's intuition?
Looks of incredulous reactions come from around the room. Crusher and Riker, as senior officers, are the loudest voices of disagreement.
That won't accomplish anything, sir. There's no way they can save Naranda 3.
Captain Garrett says there were 4 Romulan warbirds. The Enterprise C would be outmanned and outgunned.
Unless we were to rearm them with modern...
We can't do that. If this to send this ship back with new technology, we'll be altering the past.
But that's what you're talking about doing anyway, isn't it? Altering the past?
We're talking about restoring the past.
How could Guinan know that history has been altered if she's been altered along with the rest of us?
Perhaps her species has a perception that goes beyond linear time.
There are many things about her species which can't be easily explained. Yet it is very possible she is correct. A ship from the past has traveled through time. How can we know what the effect those events will have on the present? Indeed, we shall never know for certain if Guinan is correct. But I have decided the consequences of that possibility are too great to ignore. Dismissed.
Sir, if you wish my opinion...
I think I am aware of your opinion, Commander. This is not a briefing. I am not seeking your consent. Riker is refusing to back off, challenging Picard.
With all due respect, Captain, we'd be asking 125 people to die a meaningless death.
Not necessarily meaningless, Commander. Klingons place honor above all else. If the crew of the Enterprise C had died fighting for the survival of a Klingon outpost, that would have been considered a meaningful act of honor by the Klingon Empire.
Even though deaths might have prevented this war. The officers considered this as a moment passes. If the Enterprise C returns to the battle and its mission is a success, history will be irrevocably changed. This timeline will cease to exist and a new future will have been created. I've weighed the alternatives. I will file Guinan's recommendation. Dismissed. Cut to the bridge. As they exit the ready rooms, Tasha hears.
If she's right, we may not even be in the alternate timeline.
Yeah. Who knows if we're even dead or alive?
Cut to Tasha as she processes this, and the quick memory of the way Guinan was acting towards her passes around her face. She pushes it away. The group splits up, and we cut to the turbolift. Data and Tasha enter. She is troubled by this turn of events. Data notices.
Engineering.
Tasha doesn't order a destination.
Is engineering your destination as well?
She glances up, realizing.
Oh, Deck 6. Sorry.
If I interpret your facial expression correctly, you were preoccupied with something unpleasant.
No, I was just thinking about a lot of things. I've been working with one of the officers on the Enterprise C. He's nice. I like him. I'm worried about what's going to happen to him.
We may never know what happens, Tasha. If they succeed, we will not even realize any of these events occurred.
The turbolift stops and the doors open at the corridor. Tasha pauses in the doorway. She exits. The door closes and we focus on Data's reaction. Cut to exterior space, the two Enterprises, as before. Cut to the Enterprise C bridge. Tasha and Castillo work at the nav stations doing additional checks.
Shields are up to 72%. That's better.
Good.
Move to find Garrett and Picard alone. He has just informed Captain Garrett of his feelings. She is thoughtful, not hostile, looking for solutions as everyone else is.
Do you believe in this Guinan?
I discovered a long time ago that she has a special wisdom. I have learned to trust it. I could arrange for you to speak with her if you wish.
Captain, I would be lying to you if I told you there was a chance in hell of coming out of this alive. Why doesn't your ship come back with us? The Romulans would be no match for your weaponry.
I can't do that.
No, I suppose not. You wouldn't belong in our time any more than we belong in yours. To be honest, Picard, there are some members of my crew who would have expressed a desire to return, even knowing the odds. Some because they can't bear to live without their loved ones. Some who don't like the idea that we slipped out in the middle of a fight. But I've told them that here and now, the Federation needs another ship against the Klingons, and we better get used to being here.
Picard leads in as he whispers to Garrett. But if you go back, it could be a great deal more helpful. The war is going very badly for the Federation, far worse than is generally known. Starfleet commands defeat is inevitable. Within 6 months, we may have no choice but to surrender. That hits home to Garrett. For a moment, she's too stunned to speak.
And you're saying all this may be the result of our arrival here?
One more ship will make no difference in the here and now. But 22 years ago, one more ship could have stopped this war before it started. A long beat passes. She glances up at Castillo.
Mr. Castillo,
Yes, Captain.
inform the crew we're going back.
Yes, Captain.
The Romulans get a good fight. We'll make it one for the history books.
I know you will, Captain. Picard nods with admiration for his counterpart as he takes his leave. Lieutenant Liao.
Permission to remain for a moment, sir?
Picard sees that she wants to say goodbye to Castillo. Granted.
Transporter room. Captain Picard is ready to return to his ship.
Hi, Captain.
They exit to go to the transporter room. Tasha goes to the aft station. That's now that she's there, she doesn't know exactly what to say to him.
I just wanted to say good luck.
I'll just try to put some of your tactical briefings to good use when we get back.
Your ship has much more maneuverability than the Romulan counterparts of that era. Actually, if you could just isolate...
She stops in mid-sentence, knowing she doesn't want to be talking techno right now.
You'll do fine.
If you get back to Earth and you see a man, say, in his late 50s, taking a hard, long look across a crowded room,
Tasha smiled.
hey, you never know.
And she nods, forcing back her emotions. She puts out her hand.
Goodbye, Lieutenant.
As Castillo reaches for it, suddenly an explosion rocks the ship, throwing them off balance. Cut to main view screen. A Klingon battlecruiser has appeared. Castillo rushes over to the helm. Tasha at tactical.
Red alert! Full power to shields.
Red alert sounds.
Shields are up. Functioning.
Initiating evasive maneuvers. Gamma sequence.
Ready phasers. Enterprise D. Has your captain returned safely?
Cut to Enterprise D main bridge.
Acknowledged, Enterprise C. Captain Picard is safely aboard.
Riker turns to Data.
Fire phasers.
Firing phasers.
Behind him, Picard moves onto the bridge from the turbolift with a purpose. Report.
One Klingon bird of prey off the starboard bow.
Cut to the Enterprise C bridge.
Firing phasers.
Load torpedo bays.
Suddenly, they're hit by a massive explosion. Garrett is caught off by flying debris. She goes down. Cut to exterior space. As the Enterprise D fires a barrage, a shimmering effect surrounds the bird of prey, and it disappears. Cut to the Enterprise D bridge.
The Klingon vessel has recloaked, sir. I have no readings.
Captain Garrett, damage report. There was no answer. Captain Garrett. Cut to the Enterprise C bridge. Tasha and Castillo look shocked. Tasha taps her comm badge.
This is Lieutenant Yar, sir.
Castiel is looking over the bloody body of Captain Garrett. Tasha stands helplessly beside him.
Captain Garrett is dead.
Cut to the Enterprise D bridge. We focus on their stunned reactions. Fade out. End of Act 3. Begin Act 4. Fade into exterior space. The two Enterprises as before. Cut to Enterprise D observation lounge. Picard, Riker, Tasha are present. Castiel walks in.
I'm prepared to lead the Enterprise back myself, Captain Picard.
Riker turns to Picard.
Sir, Lieutenant Castillo is the last senior officer alive. He will have limited support from ops, no tactical, reduced staff and engineering. I have good people willing to do their best. But certainly, history never meant this ship to be led into battle without her captain. I can't speak to that point, sir. But I could get us back to where we were supposed to be. I believe that Captain Garrett would want me to do.
Commander Data to Captain Picard.
Go ahead.
Sir, sensors are showing additional instability in the time rift, possibly the result of the battle with the Klingons.
Any signs of other Klingon vessels?
No, sir.
Our coordinates have been transmitted to the Klingon command. We must not remain here.
Picard studies the helmsman.
Sir, it is my intention to return, unless you order me not to.
Picard's eyes glow with admiration for the young lieutenant. Tasha watches with renewed concern, but she too respects him enormously. How soon will you be ready? Will your ship be ready?
We sustained moderate damage in the attack. I think we can get underway in a few hours.
Make it so. We will give you cover. Castiel exits, followed by Tasha. Cut to transporter room. Tasha and Castiel enter. A crewman mans the console.
Want to beam to the Enterprise C.
An engineer acknowledges. He turns to Tasha.
We keep saying goodbye, don't we?
I wish we had more time.
More time? I think we've had all the time we can handle as it is.
They look at each other, and damn the engineer, they move in together and into a warm, tender kiss.
Aw.
They break.
Lieutenant.
And she watches as he moves to the transporter pad, and they look at each other with a love that might have been, and he dematerializes. And as we push into her face, her thoughts racing. Cut to Enterprise D10 forward. Guinan's looking out the window. She hears the doors open. She doesn't know who it is.
Can I get you something, Tasha?
Guinan turns to face Tasha.
Guinan, I have to know something.
Guinan looks at her evenly.
What happens to me in the other timeline?
I don't have alternative biographies of the crew. As I said to the captain, it's just a feeling.
But there's something more there when you look at me, isn't there?
The beat passes.
I've seen it in your eyes, Guinan. We've known each other too long.
We weren't meant to know each other at all. At least that's what I sense when I look at you.
Tasha looks at her with a curious smile.
Tasha, you're not supposed to be here.
Where am I supposed to be?
Guinan's expression changed.
Dead.
Tasha's shaken, as any of us would be. She tries to cover it up.
You know how?
No. But I know that it was an empty death, a death without purpose.
As Tasha considers this revelation, her mind begins to work. Tasha exits. Cut to the ready room. Picard at his desk working. A chime at the door. Come! The door slides open, and Tasha enters. Yes, Lieutenant?
Captain, I request a transfer to the Enterprise C.
Picard is taken by surprise. For what reason?
They need someone at tactical.
We need you here.
I'm not supposed to be here, sir.
Picard looked up. A beat passes. He puts his pad down. Sit down, Lieutenant. What did she say to you?
I don't belong here, sir. I'm supposed to be dead.
Picard is shaken by the revelation. She felt it was necessary to reveal that to you?
I felt it was necessary.
I see. You realize that it is very possible that the Enterprise C could fail. We may be forced to remain in this timeline, in which case, hopefully, your life would continue for a long while.
I know how important it is that they don't fail, Captain. That's why I'm requesting this transfer.
You don't belong on that ship, Lieutenant.
No, Captain Garrett belongs on that ship, but she's dead, and I think there's a certain logic in this request.
There's no logic in this at all. Whether they succeed or not, the Enterprise C will be destroyed.
But Captain, at least with someone at tactical, they will have a chance to defend themselves well. It may be a matter of seconds or minutes, but those could be minutes that change history. Guinan says that I died a senseless death in the other timeline. I didn't like the sound of that, Captain. I've always known the risks that come with a Starfleet uniform. If I'm to die in one, I'd like my death to count for something.
Lieutenant, a long look. There are many feelings. Permission granted. She rises and looks at him with gratitude.
Thank you, sir.
And exits. We focus on Picard's face as he knows he has said goodbye to his friend. Cut to Enterprise C main bridge. The crew is busy at work, closing up patched up consoles. Castillo is in command, reviewing a monitor at an aft station. Castillo taps his comm badge.
I'm showing phaser banks up to 70% efficiency. We've got an hour left. Let's see if we can get them up to 90. Aye, sir.
Castillo steps up as two of his young crewmen.
Parker, you've got ops. Fredericks, you take the con.
I'll handle tactical.
We focus on Tasha stepping up to Castillo.
Lieutenant Tasha Yar reporting for duty, sir.
Castillo reacts with surprise and walks over to her.
You're not a part of my crew.
I am now. Captain Picard approved my request for transfer.
Castillo leads Tasha to one side, not wanting to continue this discussion in front of the crew.
This isn't a joke, Tasha. We're going back into the rift, into battle. We're not going to come back.
I know the mission. These are my orders, Lieutenant.
But I don't want you here.
You need me here. Show me someone on your crew that can do the job better than I can.
Castillo knows he can't. There's no one as qualified. He looks at her with appreciation.
Welcome aboard. Take your station, Lieutenant.
Aye, sir.
Tasha, all business, moves to her station. As she runs a check on tactical, we fade out. End of Act 4. Begin Act 5. Fade into exterior space. The two Enterprises. Enterprise C in background. The Enterprise D begins to wheel around to face the imminent Klingon attack. The rift can now be seen in the background. The Enterprise C turns to make its approach towards the rift. Picard's add to his login voiceover. Military log supplemental. Lieutenant Tasha Yar has transferred to the Enterprise C, where she has taken over tactical duties. Meanwhile, our long-range scanners have picked up Klingon battle cruisers on an intercept course. Cut to Enterprise D main bridge interior. Picard is in command. The mood is tense. These are seasoned professionals getting ready for another round of combat in a long and hard war.
Number and type of ships, Mr. Crusher.
3 Cavort-class battle cruisers, sir. They're not even troubling to cloak themselves.
They shouldn't be so confident after the passing we gave them on Archer 4.
You mean the pasting?
Yeah, I mean the pasting.
Picard turns on the intercom to address his crew. Attention, all hands. As you know, we could outrun the Klingon vessels. But we must protect the Enterprise C until she enters the Temple Rift. And we must succeed. Let's make sure history never forgets the name Enterprise. Picard out. The mood of the bridge crew is determined. And if this were a few centuries earlier, a cheer would go up. Cut to exterior space. The Klingons. 3 Klingon battlecruisers in an attack formation head for the Enterprise. The lead ship fires disruptors. Cut to the Enterprise D main bridge interior. The ship rocks with an impact. Monsieur Teta?
Shields are holding, sir.
Hold fire, Mr. Crusher. Come about to course 148,003. Aye, sir.
Ready photon torpedoes.
Dispersal pattern, Sierra. And fire! Cut to exterior space, Enterprise D. The Enterprise D fires torpedoes on the Klingon ships. 5 torpedoes hit the shields of the lead ship. Cut to Enterprise D main interior.
1 enemy target hit, sir. Moderate damage to their forward shields.
The ship is rocked as another Klingon shot rocks the ship.
Our shields are still holding. Minor damage to secondary hull.
We focus on the view screen as one of the Klingon ships breaks formation with the others. Course 148. Correction. Course 170, mark 1014. Sir, one of the Klingon ships is breaking off and going towards the Enterprise C. It's a moment of decision. Picards know what he must do. Mr. Crusher, keep us within 200 kilometers of the Enterprise C. Coming to 217, mark 15, increasing to 2/3 impulse. Cut to exterior space, the 2 Enterprises. The Enterprise D moves closer to the Enterprise C in order to protect it from the Klingons. The Enterprise D is hit and returns phaser fire. We see the Enterprise C getting closer to the rift. Cut to the Enterprise D main bridge interior. The ship is rocked by several hits. Riker works the tactical console.
Damage control teams, deck 14.
Enterprise D main engineering.
Engineering the bridge. Starboard power coupling is down. Containment field generator is damaged. Attempting to bypass.
Cut to Enterprise D main bridge. Riker turns to Picard.
If we lose antimatter containment.
Picard nods grimly. Acknowledge La Forge. Sir, the Klingons are flanking us, attempting to draw us away from the Enterprise C. Hold your course, Mr. Crusher. Continue to fire all phasers. Cut to exterior space, Enterprise D. The ship sends out a firestorm of phaser fire. We focus on the Klingon ship. The phaser punches through the Klingon shields, and the ship explodes. Cut to the Enterprise D main bridge interior.
1 enemy target destroyed, sir.
The bridge is rocked again and again as the Klingons pound the Enterprise. Damage report!
Heavy casualties in the secondary hull. Navigational sensor array inoperative.
Cut to Enterprise D main engineering.
Antimatter containment fields are failing. If I can't stabilize them, we'll have to eject the reactor core or she'll blow.
Cut to the Enterprise D main bridge interior.
Shields buckling, Captain. They will not.
And another hit rocks the bridge.
LaForge to bridge.
Cut to Enterprise D main engineering. The room is filled with smoke and crackling consoles. Crewmen, some wounded or dead, are in the background. Geordi is trying to make his report through the confusion and damage.
I can't hold the antimatter containment fields. Initiating emergency shutdown.
2 explosions go off in the engine core, and an alarm sounds just as a cloud of gas starts to pour out of the engine core. Geordi reacts with horror. The computer registers a force field failure. The emergency isolation door descends and closes off the engine core.
Coolant leak. Bridge, we have a coolant leak in the engine core. I can't shut it down. I estimate 2 minutes to a warp core breach.
Crew starts to evacuate engineering, and Geordi waves in, making sure everyone gets out.
Go, go, go.
Cut to the Enterprise D main bridge. How long until the Enterprise C enters the rift?
52 seconds, sir.
Cut to exterior space. Enterprise C in the rift. The ship is just about to enter the rift. Cut to the Enterprise D main bridge interior. All remaining power to defense systems.
Power coupling severed in forward phaser banks. Attempting to bypass. Controls not responding.
The ship shakes as his head again. An explosion at tactical. Riker goes down. Picard checks him. Riker is dead. Littered with shrapnel. Picard's face is grim. This is the end, and he knows it. A Klingon voice can be heard over the comm. Federation ship Enterprise. Surrender and prepare to be boarded. Picard looks defiantly as the ship on the viewer. He goes to the tactical station and works the controls himself. He looks at the Klingon with steel in his eyes. That will be the day. Picard hops from his chair and jumps over the railing to the tactical station, overfires the phasers. Picard holds onto the tactical station as the ship is hit by phaser fire. The ship is burning. Cut to the Klingon ship in space. They press in closer for the kill and continue to fire as the Enterprise D. Cut to the Enterprise C in the rift. The Enterprise C enters the rift and disappears. Cut to the Enterprise D main bridge interior, close on Picard. It seems to be Picard as we last saw him. It is not immediately apparent whether or not something has changed or if the battle is still raging. Report, Lieutenant. Cut to a new angle, which reveals the bridge of the Enterprise as seen in the teaser. Everyone is back at their normal station. The uniforms, the bridge itself, and the people have returned to normal. Worf is back at the tactical. Troy is in her chair.
Readings fluctuated momentarily, Captain. It appeared to be a ship, but then it vanished.
Picard takes this information in stride.
The phenomenon is closing in on itself, Captain.
Very well. Prepare a Class 1 sensor probe. We'll leave it behind to monitor the final closure. Mr. Crusher, lay on the course for Usher 4. It's business as usual, as if nothing has happened. And to them, it hasn't.
Guinan to Captain Picard. Is everything all right up there?
Picard is a little puzzled by this unusual communication from Guinan. You know? Yes, everything's fine. Is something wrong? Cut to 10 forward. Guinan is at the window.
No, sir. Sorry to bother you.
She looks around. Everything is right. A sad smile crosses her face. She nods her head with satisfaction. Guinan calls over one of her servers and delivers a drinks to Geordi's table. Guinan sits down from Geordi at his table.
Geordi, tell me about Tasha Yar.
Geordi looks at her with enthusiasm and curiosity. Geordi is wearing his uniform from the other timeline. Can we even be sure that this is our Geordi? We may never know. Fade out. End of Act 5. The end. And scene. Okay, well, and that concludes. Here, let's hide that, and let's bring in our players. Introducing first, playing the roles of Tasha Yar and Beverly Crusher and Worf is Ashley Millard. Let's also bring in Jeff Mader, who had played the roles of Commander Riker, Geordi LaForge, and Castillo, Richard Castillo. Bringing in my lovely wife, Jane, who was playing Data, as well as Rachel Garrett and Guinan, if you will, and myself. I was playing the role. I was the narrator, of course, and also playing the roles of Picard and Wesley Crusher.
I didn't the comments before.
It's their comments.
So I would like to just sing. So this is our first attempt at Star Trek radio theater, where we do a script read. This was a script read of the episode with some reinterpretations of some of the performances and whatnot. So I can't wait to hear what everyone here thought of that, because we didn't really rehearse that before we did it. So
No rehearsal at all.
No rehearsal at all. Yeah. So hey, what'd you think? And we're looking to retool this, and we have like we're gonna be working on a whole list of what we're gonna do next. That's next plan. I have a list of TNG episodes and Voyager episodes I kind of want to look at, and it's theater of the mind. And we're gonna split up the characters and who plays who, or just keep it fresh and gives people different chances to invoke different characters. So, thank you everybody.
I think everybody.
And, any comments from the group?
I think it went well. I mean, for first dry run for a run.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I don't know who's watching or whatever, but I enjoyed.
We have 5 people watching.
I
live.
enjoyed doing it, which is
We
that's
had
what it's all about, right?
we had Geordi, Adam, Colin, so we had 2 other people.
I think Jody says I was laying it on a bit thick with my French accent, maybe.
Kevin's on the other end of the couch listening to it, so
he's an audience member.
yeah, he's listening.
I'm the
to
live
it
audience.
He's live.
You can
he's
say
my
that
live
this is
audience.
filmed in front of a live audience.
That's right.
Well, in one comment says here, I thought LeVar Burton was there with you. I thought so too. It was.
Says, I thought LeVar Burton was there with you.
Adam King says awesome. Colin Johnston says well done.
It really felt like Jody
Simpson says this is something.
And his name is
We'll
perfect.
take that as we'll take that as a compliment.
That's I want to write a book one day and put that on the back.
This is
That's something. This is
Simpson.
Jody Simpson. This is something, and that picture of Jody.
Okay. Well, and we got. Yes. Oh, he loves you, Jeff. He was.
Mutual.
Geordi sounded like he was really down in engineering to me. I'm like,
Everyone loved the Geordi.
Yeah.
Geordi was the big hit.
Yeah.
We got a coolant leak in the engine core. So
I was really afraid of that coolant leak.
Did you like my go go go?
It was awesome.
We gotta find a Geordi heavy episode. I'd love to do a long episode with Geordi.
Any of the Leah
Leah
Brahms
Brahms
ones.
ones.
Yeah.
oh,
yeah,
no.
they're on the list right now.
Oh, Leah Brahms.
All right, everybody. Well, we'll sign off from the live broadcast. We'll probably keep chatting and kind of reliving the moments here for a little bit. And thanks for tuning in for all who did and who are listening sort of after the fact. We hope you liked it. We hope you had some fun with us. Is that's what this is really about. And if you want to get involved, if you're one of the people in our circle and want to take on a part, let us know and we'll try to work in. And great. And hey, Colin Johnson says, haha, so good. So hey, you heard it here.
Thanks, Colin.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, see you tomorrow for the next podcast.